Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm Rabbi Cassi, and this is A Taste of Torah. Why is it so hard to change our minds? In this week's Torah portion, Vaera, Moses and Aaron urge Pharaoh to change his mind about enslaving the Jewish people. They tell Pharaoh that God is mighty and will see to the release of the Jewish people. It'd be better for him and indeed everyone if Pharaoh would let the people go. Pharaoh asked for proof, and Aaron cast down his rod and watched as it transformed into a serpent. But Pharaoh was skeptical. He called in sorcerers and magicians to turn a rod into a serpent. When they were successful, it didn't matter that Aaron's rod swallowed their rods. Pharaoh was convinced that it had all been magic. They tried again, this time turning water into blood and creating a torrent of frogs. When the magicians were also successful in these tasks, Pharaoh hardened his heart, convinced that Aaron and Moses' words meant nothing. Next, Moses and Aaron held out their rods, striking the dust of the earth. It turned into lice throughout the land of Egypt, pretty yucky. And the magicians tried to duplicate this, but this time they could not. Still, Pharaoh hardened his heart, refusing to accept God's power. There would be swarms of insects, and a cattle plague, boils, and even hail from above. And although at times Pharaoh made a promise to let the people go, he always went back on his word the second that the plague vanished. He remained stubborn, unwilling to change his mind even in the face of insurmountable evidence. His heart was made chazek, strong, and kashed, difficult and severe. It was made kabed, heavy, and perhaps even arrogant. In other words, when faced with evidence that challenged his perspective, he doubled down, refusing to consider it. He shut himself off from another point of view. He refused to change his mind. We need not look far to find instances of Pharaoh's stubbornness in our world, or perhaps even in ourselves. Changing our mind about something can require vulnerability and humility that can be uncomfortable as it is illuminating. Pharaoh believed that he was a better leader and that he would be more revered when he doubled down and stuck to his convictions. But he couldn't have been more wrong. One of the most powerful moments of my education at my seminary at Hebrew College Jewish Institute of Religion took place when I was preparing to receive my smicha, which is my rabbinic ordination certificate. It happened when one of my professors admitted that he had been wrong. Although the seminary had admitted openly gay students to the rabbinic program in 1990, and the Central Conference of American Rabbis warmly embraced people of all sexualities and genders, he had felt very uncomfortable with this decision. For years, he refused to sign the rabbinic certificate that rabbis received on the days of their ordination. For years, students had implored him to change his mind. They shared their stories, the love that they and their partners shared, and the plans to have children that they had if they wished to do so. The professor could have refused to hear them. He could have closed or hardened his heart, but instead, he let their stories in. The more he understood, the more he realized that he had been wrong to deny his signature for all of these years. That day, before students, he apologized. He changed his mind and admitted that he was wrong. He would sign the smicha of every person in my class and anyone from years past who wished to have his signature. In his commentary on the Torah portion, the 19th century Polish rabbi Safat Haemet reminds us that there is a reason we offer the Shema prayer every day. It reminds us of the importance of listening to one another and opening our hearts to each other's stories and perspectives. Our Torah portion reminds us that while convictions can be positive and helpful moral pillars, When we hold so close to them that we fail to hear others' perspectives, we begin to transform into Pharaoh. If our convictions are true, they will withstand challenge. But through open and humble and thoughtful conversation, we allow ourselves and those around us to grow closer in our relationships, and also to grow deeper in the way in which we see the world. Humility, open-heartedness, and even change are not weaknesses. Indeed, they can be our greatest strengths. Shabbat shalom, everyone. I hope that this day is a day of peace and introspection. I look forward to seeing you at Shabbat services tonight at 7 p.m.